What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Russian River Brewing Company, and they're out of both Santa Rosa and Windsor, California, and this is their Pliny for President 2024. So this is a triple dry-hopped West Coast IPA that comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just over 2 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Sierra Hotel, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with, and he surprised me with this one. I had no idea he was going to send this one my way, but I am super stoked for this beer. Now, full disclosure, I've already watched a couple reviews here on YouTube. One was by Joe over at Joe's Arcade, and the other one was Matt over at Massive Beers. Both of them really enjoyed this beer. Joe, a little put off by the pricing, which we'll talk about at the end. Matt was hoping this one would be under $20 a 4-pack, which is not the case. But he really enjoyed it as well. So yeah, I mean, I watched both of their reviews. I don't remember exactly what they said about it other than they really, really love this beer. So yeah, I'm super stoked for it. Now, the base Pliny, I think, is hopped with Amarillo, Centennial, CTZ, and Simcoe. This one is triple dry hopped with YCH 702 concentrated Simcoe and Citra, and they say some other aroma hops. Outside of that, this is a 1% ABV lower than regular Pliny, which is 8%. This is 7%. Outside of that, I have no idea. It's just triple dry hop Pliny, but it's, for some reason, it's 1% lower. So we're going to crack this one open, get in the glass, and see what we got going on. Now, I did the beer mail unboxing earlier this evening. You're going to see these maybe like a week apart or like 5 or 6 days. So, man, I just cracked that, and the fucking aroma is wild. It smells awesome. So I wanted to get this one, pretty fresh. So just over 2 weeks old. I would say that qualifies. And if you're watching this one, on the day it's reviewed, I should at this point have already done the my year in review, 2023 year in review, where I talk about like the top 23 beers of 2023 and so on and so forth. Russian River was my favorite brewery in 2023, and that's all things pertain to my channel. I reviewed a bunch of different beers from them, a bunch of different styles, and they just fucking make great beer. Outside of Pliny and Blind Pig and this beer and everything else, they just make fucking great beer. That's all I can say. So I'm assuming this is going to be good. I tried not to go into reviews with preconceived notions. I've already watched a couple of reviews. I know what Russian River can do. Here we are. So yeah, that has a pretty good clarity. Is it clear beer? I wouldn't say it's clear, but I would say there's a soft haze to it, but I can see my hand through the other side. It's just not, the clarity's not 100%. It's like 90%. Yeah, but this has like a paler, kind of like yellow golden color. I had about a finger of a bright white soap sudsy looking head, somewhat creamy to some degree, but it is now dissipated. I can generate it back up, but yeah, just maybe like a half a finger. Yeah, it looks like a West Coast IPA. Honestly, it looks like kind of a new school West Coast IPA. It's a little bit lighter. That's 7% instead of 8. But anyway, let's get a nose. Yeah, it's so aromatic that it's tough to sit here and not just want to sniff this without saying anything. And this really reminds me, you're going to think I'm going to say maybe Pliny or Blind Pig. No. This reminds me probably from the triple dry hopping of the YCH 702 of their, I think it's Row 2 Hill 56, their Simcoe Pale Ale, because that is a Simcoe Pale Ale and this is dry hopped with that Simcoe variety. It kind of gives me that nose. Very stone fruit heavy. There's a lot of peach and apricot nectarine. Very stone fruit heavy on the nose. But there's a ton of citrus. It's like ruby red grapefruit, orange. It's a zesty orange. It's oils from the citrus fruit. There's a little underlying, like, there is a graininess, but it's more like a bready or biscuity. Almost like Pilsner-esque to the malt quality. Almost, I know it sounds stupid, but like a cold IPA. A little bit. There is a pine character here, but it's not over the top in the aroma. Like, it definitely has like a pine, almost sprucey kind of nose, but like it's not big. Not compared. I mean, it's the stone fruits and the citrus fruits are jumping out of the glass. And I think they've released this one. I think they released it in 2020. They do it for the election year, so 2024. Even though they released this for the first time in 2023, they are going to release this. I think they said 4 separate times in 2024, which is why it says 2024 on the label. Anyway, this smells fucking dynamite. Does it smell as good as Pliny? I think it smells better than Pliny. I'm curious as to whether or not it's going to taste better than Pliny. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody, and huge thanks to Sierra Hotel. The fact that he was kind enough to send me a can of this is just fucking bizarre and crazy, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. Cheers. It's fucking delicious. Like, I didn't expect it not to be delicious. There's going to be a lot of comparisons to the regular Pliny and maybe other beers from Russian River in this review, but it's a fucking delicious beer. Right now, after that first sip, does it justify the hype, the price, the availability? I don't think so. Listen, first sip, I'm just saying, I don't think so. Another sip. Body this is like medium, maybe a touch over medium body. 7%, it's fine. In fact, it's a bit thin, but I'm okay with that because of the style, and I want this to be more drinkable, so I don't want it like, you know, higher side of medium, lower side of full or anything. It's 7%. Like, it should be like around medium, maybe a touch over. It's fine. The mouthfeel, yeah, it's crisp, it's effervescent. It has a nice spritzy carbonation too. It's not over the top. The one thing I noticed about Pliny the last time I had it is that while it did have like, you know, a mild to moderate carbonation, more approaching moderate, it did have a smooth, almost creamy sensation. Like it was very soft on the palate based on the style. And I don't remember being like that the first time I had it, but last time it was, which was I think earlier this year. Earlier this year or late last year is the last time I had it. I think it was earlier this year. It was great, but stylistically it was a bit different than what I'm accustomed to. It was a fantastic mouthfeel. This is more appropriate for like a West Coast IPA. The taste, yeah, that biscuity, you know, bready, kind of crackery malt sensation hits me right at the forefront, dives underneath the palate. Almost gives me pale ale vibes, but then you get waves of citrus and stone fruit. It's a melange of different, you know, oranges, tangerines, ruby red grapefruits. There's white peach, apricot, nectarine. That's all intertwining the first half of the palate. And it's like all the fruit. It's like, you know, you get like a zestiness to it, a little bit of the, you know, the oils from the citrus fruit, and then there's a little bit of like a juiciness from the fruits as well. So it encompasses like all the fruits and not just like certain parts of it. Halfway through to the back of the palate on the finish, this one hits you with that pine, that like resinous pine tone. This isn't as piney as I remember Pliny being. I think this is more, there's more of an emphasis on the stone and citrus fruits of this one. Here's what I will say though, and this happens to me, and I don't know if anybody else want to post in the comment section, feel free. I'm not sure I'm the only one that thinks this way or the only one that palate perceives it in this way, but triple dry hop beers and even double dry hop beers, the aromas are usually fantastic. And then I get to the taste portion and it's a bit of a letdown from the nose. And I'll tell you right now, that's exactly what's happening in this beer. The nose was fucking top tier, phenomenal for a West Coast IPA at 7%. The taste, though, is dialed back from the nose. And while there's a lot of citrus and stone fruits, like the pine isn't that big, even those characters aren't as big as the nose was promising. So I got to knock it a little bit for that, but I feel like triple dry hop beers in general are kind of like that for me personally. So if you experience the same thing, please post in the comment section and let me know, because I'm not sure I'm the only one that feels that way, but maybe I am. Maybe my palate is just stupid, which it is. And today it's broken, which it always is. Anyway, no shit. 7%, you can't, you know, feel it or anything. No warming in the chest, nothing on the palate. I don't expect it to be like that. I would guess probably like 7.5. I was doing this blind. Maybe a little bit less, because again, when I first said the nose, it kind of smelled like the Simcoe Pale Ale from them. Maybe I would guess like 6.5 or something. The finish though, it's semi to full on dry. And again, the bitterness isn't as pronounced as I remember Pliny being. This is more mild to moderate carbonate, mild to moderate, I want to say carbonation because I usually say mild to moderate carbonation. Mild to moderate in terms of the bitterness, where I think Pliny's more like moderately like firm in terms of its bitterness. So this is like a more fruity, somewhat juicy version of Pliny at 1% lower, and I don't hate it. This is fucking delicious. It's just, it's not exactly Pliny. I really didn't expect it to be. It's good. It's just, when you take everything in consideration, which we'll talk about momentarily, I think this is a beer that is fucking delicious. I would recommend everyone trying at least once in their life if they, you know, have the chance to. But I'd still just take regular Pliny. And I'm probably in the minority. And if that's the case, that's cool. But, you know, that's just for my own personal preference. And it is what it is. So anyway, I'm going to pour probably the rest in here, and then we will give a rating. It's so cool to be able to try this, though. So, like, it's not lost on me that, you know, if you're outside of California, unless you're trading for this beer, you're not getting your hands on it. So the fact that Sierra Hotel was kind enough to send me a can is just, it's surreal to me. So thank you again, Sierra Hotel. So Pliny for President 2024 from Russian River. I think I give Pliny typically like a 4.75, 4.7. This isn't going to be far below that. This is almost equally as good, just in a different way. But all things considered, I still think I prefer Pliny very slightly. So I am going to give this beer a low 4.75 and go 4.65. Again, fucking fantastic score, fantastic rating. It's just, when you take everything in consideration, I don't think I'd go out of my way to get this specific version over Pliny itself, which we'll talk about right now. So, price point availability. Price point on this. I mentioned earlier, Joe, you know, kind of being like, this should not be the price point it is. This is $28 a 4-pack, and that's before shipping. I think you had to buy it online and it sold out pretty quickly. I think they're getting, you know, I already probably happened, but maybe not. They're going to release it at their brew pub, or they already have. But $28 a 4-pack for this, when everybody I've talked to pretty much says like Pliny, especially in California, you can pick up like Pliny off the shelves of the Whole Foods for like $5.99 or $6.99. So in the same realm price point. When you take that into consideration, plus you need to get it shipped, or you got to go to the brew pub now and you can't just buy it off your shelves. And taking into consideration the availability, which is, again, you have to either order it online or go to the brew pub. Everything taken into consideration, I would take Pliny over this, because it's easier to get. Pliny is, I don't say a shelf turd, but it's a shelfie, like in a lot of places in California. And that is an amazing beer, and I like it a little bit more than this. Maybe if I did a true side-by-side, I wouldn't be saying that. I don't know. This is, you know, equally as good, I would say, or very close to it. But, you know, the price point, and then also what you have to do to get this beer, it makes me want regular Pliny over this. That said, I gave this a 4.65. I cannot stress enough how good of a beer this is. It's just, when you take everything into consideration, give me regular Pliny. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. I have a lot of California viewers out there that probably will get their hands on this, or already got their hands on it. So I'll be curious to know what you think about this one, because I thought the nose was fucking like a 5 out of 5, but the taste a bit more dialed back. And this is where I'll leave you. And if you unsub from the channel, if you're subscribed, or you come to the channel, watch this review, and you don't subscribe and you call me an idiot, I'm okay with it. Let me just say I'm okay with it. For me, I can't believe I'm going to say this. For me, I would rather have Row 2 Hill 56 over this. Yeah, no, see you later. Yeah, you're unsubscribing? No, I get it. Based on what that beer is, how easy it is to get in. I should say how easy, but like, I'm sure the price point is a lot lower. The ABV being what it is, and just how impactful that beer was to me, I would rather have that, but I'd also rather have it over Pliny. All right, I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm shutting this down. No, huge thanks to Sierra Nevada. Really cool to try this one, especially, again, after seeing Joe and then Matt review this one and being like, man, that'd be really cool to try someday. And then that someday was like a week and a half later. It's not lost on me how cool it is to be able to try beers like this on the East Coast. I don't trade beers. I don't go crazy. I'm not in the secondary market or whatever. So a viewer of the channel like Sierra Hotel being kind enough to send me a can of this is just fucking absurdly awesome. And yeah, like I said, I think everybody should try this one out, especially if you've had Pliny before and you're curious about this one. I'd be very curious to know what people think about this one if they've had regular Pliny. The original, or I shouldn't say original, I don't know if it's original, but the one in 2020 I think was double dry hop Pliny, and this is triple dry hop. I don't know how that one compares to this one. I think Joe said like it's equally as good, and like the 2020 was delicious as well. But you know, at the end of the day, I don't drink a lot of their beer. This year I did, because I have awesome, subs. I'm just rambling now. Let's make this a fucking 30-minute review because I'm an idiot. But I don't know. You get a beer like this, sometimes you ramble, sometimes you talk about it. Anyway, I'm going to shut it down. Thanks to Sierra Hotel. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Again, if you've had this one, post it in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it, whether it was the 2024 or the 2020 version. I would love to hear from you. And until the next one, cheers. Sirens. Is it picking it up on the mic? It might be. We're shutting down. They're coming to get me because I said that the Row 2 Hill 56 is better than this one. Do not. Cheers.